Well, I've been working the graveyard, chasing ghosts with my old guitar, singing songs real sad and slow, up under cover of a neon glow, where all my heroes come and visit me. Hank Jennings Jones and old Lefty, they still haunt these honky tonk bars. I see 'em working the graveyard.
So we have our own Alabama, Georgia line hero, Cody Bolden. How you doing today, brother?
Pretty good, pretty good. How you doing?
Good. Part of me wishes your dad was from Florida because it looked like it'd be bro country would be a lot different with that Florida Georgia line.
Well, technically, my dad is from Florida, and he grew up in Alabama, so yeah,
Man, we needed you here a decade sooner, brother.
yeah, yeah.
Jeez. Which do you think you claim more, or are you just a balanced person?
You know, I don't know. I would love to claim Alabama more. I mean, I'm an Alabama fan. Roll Tide. My dad still lives there. I was born there. But to be fair, I mean, I've been in Georgia since I was two, so it's hard not, and that's probably why. Maybe it's just out of reach for me. It's not actually mine, is why I want it so bad. So I don't know. I mean, I live in Georgia. Georgia's home, but I love Alabama.
I love that. And so that was Lineville?
Limeville, yeah, it's just a small town in Alabama. It's kind of in the northeast side of the state. We're clear close to the Talladega National Forest.
Okay. I just always love giving shout outs to any small town. I come from Ozark, Arkansas, and I've never named I was from anywhere else because those people deserve that credit. You know, it's a town of less than 3,000, and I lived outside of it, but
Yeah,
they deserve that credit, you know? And
that's
you're
true.
right now, you're in Jasper?
I'm in Canton, Georgia, so it's just a few towns below Jasper.
Okay, okay. And you're doing quite a bit, man. Keep it. It wasn't difficult to find content for you because you're a very busy guy. But with music, it was said that you didn't start picking up the guitar until you were 27.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So I'm 34 now, and I didn't get started playing until I was 27. I didn't grow up in a musical household. I mean, both my
Hmm.
mom and dad love music, listen to the radio, sing karaoke, but nobody plays instruments. I mean, music is literally just always there. They just weren't playing it. They were singing to it, but
Yeah.
I just didn't. I didn't grow up in that situation to where when I did really get interested, it didn't necessarily come naturally because it's not
Hmm.
something that I grew up around.
Yeah. And how much connection do you have like to Alan Jackson's story? You know, he started at 27 as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, it's been like later inspiration. I saw the documentary on it probably 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, I mean, it's good news for me, I guess I'd say.
And a lot of people who don't know who you are, maybe even if they do, they might not have stayed up. But one of the coolest things I think I saw about you was how connected you are to food. I've never seen an artist have so much connection to food. Like one in particular is your wife and you in 2015. You'll have a pie shop now, yeah?
We do, yeah. So we kind of, and this was, and it all kind of ties in really. And I'll kind of just give you that quick little
Come on.
story. We were both, we started dating in high school. We met in middle school, dated in high school, dated through college, and then after college, which we graduated from the same school, Georgia College and State in Milledgeville. I had moved up to Jasper, Georgia, and Lauren moved over to Gainesville. And anyway, we ended up getting married and moving to Woodstock, Georgia. And we were both at good jobs. I mean, she worked at the Capitol in Atlanta, and I was a worked for this. I was a project manager for a construction company. But in 2015, we were both 25. We were both making pretty good money, but it was just kind of like this can't be it, right? Like, are we just going to do this for the rest of our lives? Because we were just kind of hitting that phase where it was like, yeah, you do this for however long, you put this money in this Roth account, and then yeah, maybe in like 30 years you can retire and have everything you want. But it's just kind of like what happens if you don't make it to 30 years, then what? So anyway, we just kind of mold that around. I had always had interest in a small business, but never really had the fortitude on what it would be. And she'd
Hmm.
always loved cooking and baking pies in particular. So one thing led to another. She started doing farmers markets. I'm like, hey, why don't we quit these jobs and do something where we work a lot harder for a lot less money? And that's what we did in 2015.
That's country if I've ever heard it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so y'all make
Yeah.
great pies. You have great coffee. What else do y'all serve there?
Yeah, so that's mostly it, to be honest with you. So when we started, it was Pie Bar is the name, and it was going to be like alcohol infused pies or pie with alcohol. But when we first started, we didn't have time for anything other than pie in terms of like the effort we were putting into it. So like
Hmm.
an alcohol or a liquor license was so far out of the picture. We're like, no, we're just going to try and do this. And then realistically, we just decided that we didn't really want to dip our hands into a ton of different things. We would
Yeah.
rather just try and get good at one thing. So we do. We have 8 flavors of pie every day. We sell by slice or whole pie. And then in our Woodstock store, we have just a regular drip brew coffee machine. And then our Marietta store, we have an espresso machine. Um, so outside of that, though, that's what you get.
Now you're speaking my language. I was a coffee consultant. I was got to be trained by some world champs at Onyx Coffee Lab here in Arkansas. Well, here I'm in
Yeah.
Texas. I'm in Fort Worth, but back in Arkansas, Onyx Coffee Lab. Yeah, that was coffee. Ugh, I bet they would also love some pies.
Oh
Like the way
man.
they make those specialty coffee, and they make some insane stuff. And I feel like pie would really complement. They have their own culinary team and bakery, and like every day we're having croissants and other things. But it's like the classic coffee shop stuff, not like those good pies that I bet she makes. And
Oh
remind me
yeah.
of her name,
Lauren.
Lauren. Perfect.
Yep.
And so y'all been together how long now?
Ooh, well, we've been married 11 years, but I'm 34. We started dating when we were 16, so we've been together longer than we've been apart, I guess.
Wow, love that, love that.
Yeah.
And what is your least favorite thing about her? I'm kidding. What would you like? What do you think encompasses who she is? Like, why would you say this is like? There's a thousand reasons why you love her, but
Yeah.
if someone is listening right now, like what is your favorite part and how does that balance who you are as an individual?
Yeah, she's strong and confident and handles conflict well and is well spoken. Now that we've been together so long, I think I've embodied some of those traits, which is good because, I don't really care for conflict. I still don't care for it, but I'm better in it than I was. And I'm certainly wouldn't consider myself well spoken now. I'm just probably spoken. But all of those things she is very good at, and it makes me want to be better at it.
I love that. I love that, and that's how it should be. And because of y'all's love, y'all had a little one. And how did they handle the snow?
Yeah, yeah. So we had a girl. Her name is Rose. She is a year and 7 months. And yeah, we just got snow here, and we get it. Like every every couple or 3 years, but it's not off the charts. She did. She was confused. It crunches under her feet. It's really cold. You see that scene where kids are just like rolling in the snow, and maybe it's an age thing. She's just not quite there yet, but yeah, yeah, she enjoyed it though. It just took a little time.
Love that. Yeah, no, I'm the same. Yeah, in Arkansas, we got snow every year. It was just like yeah, every 3 years you get a big snow or a big ice. And so yeah, there was some of the great memories of getting out there, making snow ice cream, and we made an 8 foot snowman. No, it's probably like a 9 to 10 foot snowman one year. We had to get the tractor out to put the head on out
Yeah,
at the farm. It was fantastic. But yeah, those are great memories, and so I'm glad she already got to experience that. Um,
yeah, yeah. Same.
but I mentioned food earlier. I just wanted to cover the family real quick, but I mentioned food because also it's the first time I've ever seen an artist get to work and put their face on a beer. And back in 2021, you got to put your face. It was Canton Brewing Company, right? What was their name?
It's Green Line Brewery. Hold that thought.
Oh, come on. Is this not the coolest room right here, guys? If you're not watching the video, you need to pull up the video because this is a sick room. This is a man cave right here. Let's see the beer.
So it's Green Line Brewery. They're right. So I'm in downtown Canton. And so I can walk there. They're just a small brewery, but this is the can, and yeah, let's see if we can. And this is me on the back of the can.
Love
Where's my?
it.
Oh yeah, here it is. This is my face, my beard. Used to be longer, and plus they can kind of fill it in, when they're illustrating.
Well, they got
Um,
to.
but yeah, I mean, it's actually the place when we moved. We bought this house in 2017, um, and this was one of the only little like bars in town, and they had an open mic on Wednesdays, and it's where I started going and doing open mics when I first got things kicked off. So anyway, it's home for me for sure.
Yeah, did you get to help in the brewing process at all? Like, did you get to taste certain samples, or did they were just like, "Hey, we want to support you and show you off"?
That's exactly what it was. I didn't get to take. They were canning this beer for the first time, and they wanted to do an artist series, and they put me on. I was the first one on. So really, it didn't matter. It could have been warm milk, and I would have still been fine with it.
I love that. I love that. And speaking of your beard, do you have a beard sponsor at all? Do you have anyone that takes care of you?
No, no, I don't.
Well, I might have to. I'll talk to you after. But if anyone's listening that has beard needs, I always suggest Maestro. They're one of our
Okay,
close friends, and they have helped out, in the NBA, NASCAR, WWE, and they're just really about like bringing back healthy masculinity. And
cool.
they make some great products, and they sell it on Amazon, HEB, everything. So this is not a sponsor spotlight right now, but I'm just saying, if anyone has a beard, highly suggest them. Um, but we're clearly here for music, and so I'd love to dive into that a little bit.
Sure.
And now that these folks know you, they can understand a little bit more of where you come from. And I think it's very easy to talk about your music because you're a very talented songwriter, but you also respect um, and honor those from our past, and you do very good covers, very very good covers. And so, I've always been impressed by your tone. For those who don't know, which no one should because it's between he and I, but the first time we ever met was at Pearl's Saloon. I had just finished lessons. I was hanging out, and this like red bearded dude just got on stage, and all of a sudden, I just heard this really clean tone, and it was from there. I was just chilling. Like it was so easy to just relax and listen to you. And we'll go on later about the other stuff about like image and whatnot. But yeah, you have an extremely clean tone. And I've always been curious though. Have you ever tried yodeling?
Yo. No. Uh, no, I've never. I haven't. I mean, it sounds fun. I think. Actually, with having a 1.5-year old in Christmas, we watch The Grinch a lot, and there's that little yodel scene there when he gets the outfit that he wears down. So anyway, I've been inspired lately by some yodeling. But now, voice is such a I don't know. I grew up listening to stuff, and when I started, the more you get into it, the more you hear people talk about trying to be, somebody or trying to sound like somebody. And I don't know,
Mm.
maybe some people do that, but it's just the way I've always sang. And, kind of like what Alan Jackson has always been an influence for me. So maybe that does influence, but I've never tried to sound like Alan Jackson unless maybe I was singing an Alan Jackson song. Um, so, but thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate you hanging around that night.
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. It would have been hard to leave, to be honest. And that's honestly, I'll pitch this in too. When you were talking about y'all's decision for the pie shop, I think you could write a whole song on like, is this all there is? And I bet a lot of people would relate to it, and maybe you could inspire some people to go pursue their own dreams.
Yeah.
Just by a simple way of living of like, I know this isn't all there is, and talk about that. Like the way you talked about just investing in a Roth IRA, and then giving up your good paying job to do a lot more for a lot less. Like I feel like you could make a great comedic song. Because to be honest, that's what I say too. Is I think one of the big things we're missing right now in this country renaissance is the Brad Paisley type humor. Like we don't have anyone making jokes in songs. Like there's little jokes, but you don't remember
Sure.
Brad Paisley writing whole songs
Yeah.
that were all a joke. Like I
Yeah.
don't I don't see that very often.
No, there's not, we're going, the beauty is we are going through like this phase where country music is coming back, but it is, it does tend to be like very serious at times, and a lot less tongue in cheek than it has been in the past. And that's a huge part of country music, like all those old Roger Miller songs, and even before that, Who I forget, maybe it was Little Jimmy Dickens or somebody like that. There's a whole song about company coming over and getting ready for company to come over. And even though, it's just the silliness behind that, like that, so
But
you,
that's how it should be.
yeah,
Like
right.
that's what country music is like we
Yeah.
can just write about going out and feeding cattle and like that means something to certain people, but other people are like, what is this? As
Yeah.
long as it's not pandering, that's huge. And that's where I think I never recognized it, but I think you're right in that. Like I saw it in the honky tonk with dancing, but also in music, maybe we won't get humor until closer to the end of the Renaissance or maybe after the Renaissance is over, because at that point the artists don't have to prove themselves. Right now, I feel like we're kind of in that stage where everyone has to prove their country. Like
Sure.
ever since like stadium country started, because there were those people kind of in the scene, everyone else felt the need to always prove themselves, like I'm country enough. And now we're kind of getting to that point where I do see artists that are now saying I don't need to prove anything, like I'm just here. And they're starting to get a little more creative, and maybe we will find those songs after that everyone's comfortable and trust each other.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of kind of, I guess, maybe what I was alluding at with the, talking about Alan Jackson and the tone. And I've never felt like I have to prove that I'm country. And honestly, it never even occurred to me until, there was like a video, one of my videos on YouTube, and it was like fake accent or something like that. And like, I didn't even know people thought like that. It just never
Hmm.
even, I grew up in the South. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to emulate anything. I'm just doing the thing. So the idea of like recreating this thing that I don't, it's just a weird thing. But the best place to be for great music and great anything, I think, is anybody doing what comes natural to them. And you don't have to be, you don't have to grow up picking, corn all to be country or play country music. And lean into what you do and do it well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's all. That's it's expressing yourself, and that's what everyone's gonna continue to hear me say to you. And we've had the conversation, but I truly feel like you're very good at being who you are and showing that like extremely well, showcasing it all. And that's where I kind of want to get into that songwriting side of you. And it's clear your family values and your traditional ways just because of all the songs you write. And so your inspiration is clearly from family. You even had the one of Good Memories that Mimi inspired. Talking about that. But I'm curious, what else do you pull from? You feel like what else really gets that either the fire burning and you're like I want to talk about this, or maybe the conviction to say someone has to talk about this.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of my muse is the idea of my dad. He was never so my mom and dad split up when I was a kid, real young.
Hmm.
So as a matter of fact, that's I was in Alabama, born in Alabama, and my mom, when they split up, she moved to Augusta. He actually followed, not there long behind her, so he was there. He was around when I was a kid, but they were split up. But he's just kind of always been a wild man. I think that's where probably the honky tonk stuff comes from. Just in terms, a lot of the songs are. I've got a song called "Don't Ride Your Bike When Your Bike's Been Drinking,"
Hmm. Love
and
it.
it's really just music that I put to his story. I was 15 years old, and he's 30 years older now. So he was doing this shit at 45 years old. Anyway, he left a bar. Cop tried to pull him over on his motorcycle. He decided he didn't want to do that, so he ran from the cops, got a DUI, and got his ass whooped in the process. So anyway, just stuff like that. And of course, there's going to be little embellishments here and there. So that he's always, I don't even know if you could call it a muse other than I'm just putting music to my dad being a dumbass.
And his dad still around?
Yeah, yeah, he is. He is.
What does he think about you? Like, what do your folks think about your music? Were they like critical of it? Were they really impressed? Like they never knew this was gonna happen? Did they always know this was gonna happen? Like, what are their views on this?
Yeah, I think supportive probably. I don't think they always knew it was going to happen because, like I said, I didn't grow up in like that, so it wasn't really a thing. We always loved it. His reviews are good. I mean, because I think it makes him look cool in the situation. My dad, and granted, it is kind of cool. I mean, it was cool. I thought it was cool enough to make a song out of it.
Yeah.
My mom always complains that there's no songs about her, but I guess it's because she was too busy raising me and not getting arrested, so that's her fault.
There you go. There you go. No one, what is it? No well-mannered woman is ever written down in history or whatever.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
hey, maybe to be honest too, that's a whole song in itself. You know,
It is.
that's so I've never written a song because I've never been able to connect in my mind in a skillful way my ability to like I would say my best ear skill is to be able to hear a song and be like, that sounds exactly like this. Like matching
Sure.
songs the same way, like references and whatnot. But I've never been able to connect that with my ability to write poetry. So I've never counted myself as a songwriter. However, man, I see so many ideas of just like that should be a song. Oh, that should be a song. You know, like there it is. And that's what I
Yeah.
love is to be able to like just hear stories from people, especially with guys like you. Like you said, like embellishing stories though is what makes them interesting. Because yeah, there is country that needs to be talked about the day to day simple stuff, but the point of the embellishment is to make it like a dreamlike. And that's also what brings the nostalgia is if we all just told the same story, which all of us normally live, it wouldn't be that cool. But the thing
Sure.
is, the embellishment reminds us of our own nostalgia, and that I think is what makes the South the South. Like anything
Yeah.
else,
Yeah, no, a lot of it's kind of what you just hit on there. Like it could be a turn of phrase, and being that I do live in the South, we got a lot of those just kind of things that people say, you know what I mean? That kicks like a mule eating briars, things like that, that that you can that get worked into a ton of my songs. But a lot of it is just experiences. I mean, there are a few songs that completely came from nothing, just a story that I came up with,
hmm,
but most of them come from something. We The one we're working on right now that'll probably come out first part of this year, maybe in the next month or two. It's called "We Drank the Bar," but the full title is "We Drank the Bar at a Lone Star Beer," and it was the first night that we had came to Texas a few years back. We played Adair Saloon, um,
hmm.
and we they were selling pitchers for basically the price of two beers, but I think it was holding like four beers in a pitcher. Either way, we drank so much of it that they told us that they ran out. They could have just been cutting us off. But anyway, we were like, is this like this is Texas, right? This is like you don't run out of Lone Star beer. That's got to be a cardinal sin. And you let a couple of guys from Georgia come here and drink drink you out of Lone Star beer. So anyway, it's just stuff like that, and songs for me, you talk about kind of connecting them, making that connection to poetry. When I write a song too, it's usually the melody and the hook kind of that comes to me first, and then I build around that. And a
Hmm.
lot of times I try and build it in like three phases, so it'd be three verses, and then that chorus connects through. Um, so anyway, like that night, one of the verses about Tyler, my bass player, one of the verses about me and Jason, which is is my drummer. That was the three of us that were there that night.
Yeah, and is hats a requirement for your band?
Hats are not, but it is encouraged. Well,
Yeah, everyone has a really cool hat. Like every time I when I watched Joe that night and when I've seen any videos, I like always see all them hats, and I was like, we got to get these guys a sponsor.
well,
Like that is a lot of money they're putting into that.
we're not 19 anymore, and we're all losing our hair, so hats are a must.
Ah, come on, it's extra stage light, you know. AV would
Yeah,
probably love you. Get
yeah,
your
for
little
sure.
disco ball going.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm glad too you already went into the. I was about to ask about the melody and hook, and that's exactly if I ever write songs. I got a few in the works, and who knows, I might find one that I can write about the South and throw over to you. But that's actually anytime I do as well. It's melody, hook, and then to me that makes it easier to write the verses too, because I think country songs, my favorites are the progression. Like especially if they can do it, which is very difficult. But if the chorus never changes,
sure.
but as each verse hits, the chorus changes. So like Dixie Darlin' with the Wilder Blue, every time he sings the chorus of like Dixie Darlin', like pretty much I'm thinking about you, I want you to stay. He adds to the story with each verse, and by the last one, you're like crying because you're like starts out as like a school crush, and you're like, oh cool, okay, and then it's like, oh yeah, we couldn't have a family, and he's like, I don't want you to leave, but she does, and it's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Come on, man.
Yeah.
And so I love when artists are able, like, really able to do that. And that's where I'm really curious, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Being from Arkansas, I feel like we're kind of all thrown in. with subgenres. And I don't know how every artist always tells me they don't think subgenres are important, and I think they're just trying to be cool. Because again, you work so hard to get into the market. Why would you not want your market? Because then someone else could just take it. But I
Sure.
think the South has always kind of been kind of like the stepchild in country music. Even though everyone comes uh, when people think also like about like Bakersfield, they don't credit Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, but Bakersfield wouldn't have its sound if it weren't for the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl and everyone moving out there, right? And so we got to give credit where credit is due. But also, I feel like there was a lot of people from Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, Louisiana, like the South, and not the East Coast, South, and even Deep South. But since they moved to Nashville, Tennessee gets credit. Or since they moved to Texas, Texas gets credit, you know? And so I feel like the South kind of loses its identity. And it's also really hard to put it in a box, you know, fence it in to say this is a subgenre because we have Southern rock, we have bluegrass, we have gospel. We also the Appalachians come in, so like we also have them a little bit of that honky tonk sound. So it's like we have so many sounds, but it's as
Sure.
though because we are not specific of like this is the South, we have everything, you know. And so I'm curious,
Yeah.
where do you like to draw the line, maybe even just in educating or in yourself, where you like your music, between one, country and western, but then two, talking about southern country, you know, our Muscadine bloodlines, our Cody Boldens, our
Sure.
even right now, I feel like Arkansas has a massive renaissance going on of, you know, Mae Estes, and even Tennessee, you know, outside of Nashville. There's a lot of folks coming out of there
Yeah.
that represent us. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would consider us probably alt country. And two, I think a few things too that also, I mean, I grew up in the South and I grew up, I mean, the high school I went to, everybody got free lunch. I mean, the whole city, the whole town was below poverty level, so everybody got free lunch. So some of the other genres that are would be in my influence that aren't necessarily reflective in the full length of the song would be, soul and R&B
Mm-hmm.
and hip hop. A lot of that stuff, like I was a huge, still am, Boys to Men fan coming up through high school.
Come
You know what I
on,
mean? So
come on.
like, and that soul of stuff is still in our music, and it's not that far from where we are anyway. I mean, country and blues are right there together as it is. Um, so and two, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about off the beginning. It's not a now that we've played more places and come out to Texas because we also like here where I'm at, we don't dance like y'all dance in Texas. We didn't grow up doing that. So now it's something I've tried to get better at. Granted, I'm always playing and never on the dance floor, so it's hard for me to get better at it. But it's almost embarrassing when I do go out because people out there come out to dance and they've been doing it their whole life, so they know exactly how to dance to this beat and this type of song, and that's just not even on our radar here, unfortunately. You know, the Cupid's Shuffle, sure, kill it, right? Uh, but like when people here think of dancing to country music, they think of like Cotton Eye Joe, um, or something like that, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. And two, it's been neat for me because the first time we came out to Texas was 3 years ago, and it was just kind of like an eye-opening thing. I mean, I've been out before and visited Austin, but only for a short amount of time. But I'd never played out there, so I didn't see how people were reacting to songs, what songs they were reacting to. But it shaped our show back here, and it shaped our sound a little bit, just in terms of like trying to lean more into that style of music. But yeah, I mean, soul and R&B has always been. I love all of that kind of music. I mean, Otis Redding was a big influence for me also when I was younger. Um, so I know I just kind of hit on a bunch of different things there, but it's just different there, and I wish that I'd grown up in a scene like that because live music is looked at different there. I mean, people are going out to dance, like that's what they expect to do. Where here, if there's a band playing, especially at like a brewery, you may as well have Spotify streaming music over the PA because it's the same except for um, they can, it's the streaming is a little more accessible because we don't play all the type requests, you know, and it's just they're not there for that. They're there to have background music. Whereas out there, it's a part of the culture. Like you're going out to dance. That's what you're going out to do, and you don't dance to, uh, whatever they call those DJ things now, where you go put your money in it. It's the new jukebox, right?
The touch
Yeah,
tunes.
yes, exactly. Um, so anyway, it's a whole. There's only a few. There's a few hundred miles between us, but it's a whole world of difference.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's what's insane is for anyone listening right now, just know that Cody and I have never talked about this. I also don't think my content has influenced Cody enough to be able to speak the same truth that I have this entire time. But I just want you to know that, like, well, specifically you, Cody, you have just said exactly, like, word for word what I've been teaching from Honky Tonk Traditions, and you said it from an artist perspective, and that means it's the truth since you've experienced something, you noticed it, and you even what I thought was crazy because I've never heard anyone mention it, but you changed like to witnessing it. That's the big reason I fight stadium country is one, we don't have a dance floor. Like one, you got to dance. When country music is playing, well, honky tonk music is playing, you got to dance. That's the whole point of honky tonk music is it was dance and country music.
Sure.
Like honky tonk is country music isn't honky tonk. And a lot of people, especially out in the only place you would see probably Nashville or Atlanta, they like anywhere else doesn't understand that just because some country artist drops a song doesn't mean you should dance to it. Like there's a point of sitting down and just enjoying the music, right? But you are right that a lot out here they play to dance, and that's the thing is as soon as they get to the stadiums, it's like you fight your whole life to get out of the honky tonk, and not because it's the honky tonk, but because you got to see more people. But the second you leave the honky tonk, you can never go back. But that was the whole reason you were there.
Yeah.
That's what Hank always talks about. That's what Merle always talks about. You know, that's what Waylon always talked about. And yet, our biggest names for decades, they're gone, and they don't come back because we can't handle it. You know, we don't have enough people or space, but also we don't have the etiquette. People can't respect one another enough to dance and show the artist how their music affects us, like you said,
Right.
and still have people standing room. You know, and we love to get rowdy, but people just get too like they don't get rowdy, they get stupid, and that's what I
Yeah.
hate. Is I want to have a space for people like Zach Top to still play in these honky tonks, but I knew once he played Billy Bob's once, he was done. He's not going to be able to come back. Like that's why certain people are not able to come play because they don't have time. They're playing stadiums now, you know, and they're done. They can
Yeah.
never come back to a honky tonk, and it's hard.
Yeah. No, it is well, and too, and that's I don't really know how you fight that once an artist has kind of hit that level of popularity where they're selling, $500 tickets. As a matter of fact, I think Zach Top is coming through, and now this through Atlanta, and this is a second or third party, but Jason, my drummer, had sent me, but it was like $1,100 or $1,200 for a ticket
Yep.
to see him, which Zach Top is the real deal. He's a pro. I get it, but I mean that is just crazy, and I don't know how from a business standpoint, from the guys that are running and selling all these tickets, how do you, if you're selling tickets like that where everybody's sitting right next to each other, how do you warrant giving up the space for a dance floor? And then two, somebody like you, where it is, how to dance, and it's very important on what you're doing and how you're doing it. How do you combat
Hmm.
that with people like me that don't dance well and are just standing in one spot on the dance floor and doing it all wrong? Because there's going to be a lot of me out there too that, like, their girlfriends or wives drug them out there, because we went to um this has been like 5 years ago. We went to the American Legion in Nashville where they used to do Honky Tonk Tuesday, and it kind of reminded me of probably what it would have been like had George Jones toured through town in like the 60s,
Hmm.
for multiple reasons. One is the space. I don't know if you had ever been there. They don't really recently made a change. They're not doing it at the Legion anymore in Nashville, but this was like August, and we had just went to the Grand Ole Opry. I'm a big Jamie Johnson fan, and I'd gotten tickets because I'd actually never gone to the Opry, and he had just been inducted. So we went to the Opry on Tuesday night, saw that, and then went to Honky Tonk Tuesday, which it's at an American Legion, and it looks like an American Legion band room. There's a bandstand, But anyway, it was August. It was packed. There was probably like 400 people in there, and that's about what the room would hold. And the air conditioning wasn't working, and everybody was dancing, and everybody was sweating, and they were playing all these old, like Webb Pierce and all these old 60s country songs. And it was just like in that moment, you know what I mean? Like what it would have been like. So that was like my first induction to, hey, this is what this music can do for people, and this is what it does and used to do, like when those guys toured through town. Um, but I don't know. I don't know how you make the Zach Top. I don't know how you scale that show where you can dance to it.
Yeah, well, one thing is we can't fight stadium country. Like a lot of people would think, the cowboy method is like, oh, take it down, take it down. It's like, no, the time has moved past. Like Garth Brooks kind of took that from us. So what we can do though is some of that seating space. You have a dance floor, like you have the pit where people can still get there. Like everyone wants to do, have their phones up and do all that. And instead of playing to a person, they play to the phones. Cool, go to the pit. But then
Sure.
right behind the pit, so the artists can see, have like I mean, even just a Billy Bob size dance floor, a good size, and just have 4 security guards. And that would take up, it could take up the same amount of space as the chairs, but you could fit more people. And that's the thing too is Honky Tonk Traditions is built on etiquette. So when you're saying, well, our skill level is so different. Okay, if I was driving a car, I might be a lot better of a car like driver than the person beside me. But as long as you follow the rules of the road, we're not going to have any issues. Because if everyone understands the etiquette, because also there's regions. So like your regional dance, you might do something different. However, the universal thing of our dance floors should be the same. And that's what all we're trying to bring back is so that then you can see this person in the middle might East Coast swing to your song, but this person right here might triple two to it. And you just see a floor of triple two and East Coast swingers. And you get to play and decide how they dance to it, which is crazy because you probably would have experienced the same thing. Did you get to go to Longhorn Saloon in the Stockyards yet? Pearl
Uh,
Dance?
yes, yes,
It's like just down the hill from Pearls. It's like probably
yes.
2 blocks. Yeah, that is my favorite bar.
Okay.
And they call it a museum. They don't even call it a honky tonk because it's so old.
Yeah.
And what they'll do is they'll play like a polka. And you'll see, like, you can kind of pick up on when he's going to do it. I mean, sometimes it's just a song. They finish that way. But you'll see them start, like, laughing with each other because they know they're about to kick it up.
Right.
And what they'll start doing is you'll just hear the bass start pumping, and he'll just start slapping, and then the drums will just start slowly building. They'll just slowly build, and they'll start hitting this polka. Of course, it's like a fiddle solo
Sure.
or a steel. And they'll try to get the polka dancers as fast as they can. And there was one point they went, it was like a 6-minute song, I learned. This is why all the old people stepped off the floor. I didn't know this. And they saw us at like 3 minutes and we thought we were done. And then they kicked it up and all the old people pushed my dance partner and I back on the floor. And they're like, y'all got this, y'all got this. And for the next 2.5, 3 minutes, again, I was a tri-sport collegiate athlete, man, and my legs were tired. I was
Sure.
breathing heavy. And when we finished, they surrounded us like we just won a championship. And they were like, yeah, and cheering for us, like all these old dancers. And that to me, in the same way, like you had at the Legion, it was a moment I realized I was like, I'm doing the right thing. And like, I'm going to
Yeah.
keep fighting for this because I want everyone my age, for generations after me and generations still, I want them to know like this scene is still here. Like
Sure.
we are still here and like music is still here, that huge connection. And so I think you really it was impressive how well you cover that. I don't even have to like add into what you're saying. It's like the truth. It's just the truth. There is a connection and there's accountability from the artist to the dancers and the dancers to the artist. And that to me is what brought in bro country and pop country as a whole was stadium country not seeing dancers. And so you either had stadium country or you had Appalachian. And that's it.
Sure.
Texas country scene, Red Dirt, kind of started building its own thing, but until like 2016 with Appalachian country, we dancers suffered like badly, really badly, and we're still fighting the repercussions of that. So as
Sure.
much as I would love folks like you to see like the best dancers we can everywhere we go, I don't think it'll happen for probably another like 5 years to 10 years. But at that point, I would love for you to be able to witness like you did, hopefully at Pearls. Except we'd love more people because you played a Sunday night, I think.
We ended up playing like the early show Saturday, and then yeah, we played a Sunday when I think
Sunday.
when you came in on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'd love for you though to be able to see a full floor of like really talented dancers reacting to your song. Because that's, I mean, that's not why you wrote it, but that's one of the beautiful connections you have, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, and I'll say
But
what's neat too is inherently because of that, none of our songs by design, not by design, undesigned, I guess would say, none of our songs are catered and had been to that. So we'll drop into halftime sometimes and back up to a full because none of it was like. So it's interesting to see the people that are dancing what they do in those moments. Same thing with covers because
exactly.
we don't play covers the just like the record a lot, and we will. It's really more to entertain ourselves, I guess.
Hmm.
Probably it makes the song more entertaining as well. But we will drop into halftime and then back into full time, back into halftime. But yeah, it's funny you talk about the accountability thing, um, because it is when it is it's a thing that I don't feel out here, but I do feel there is, if we're playing, I mean, I really work on my set list to try and make sure that it's going to be an appropriate. Now, granted, if we're playing 4 hours, there's going to be some stuff in there like, there's going to be some Southern rock stuff in. But what surprised me is that people are dancing to that too. They're just so. But the accountability, because I feel it on my side on the stage of, hey, if I have people here, there's one thing to have like active listening people, but if I have people here that are actively dancing, it's my job to keep them dancing. I mean, in the big picture, it's my job to keep them in the bar. I mean, that's why I'm there,
Exactly.
and to keep them in the bars to keep them dancing. So there is a bit of pressure, especially on my end, of somebody that doesn't play these kind of places that often throughout the year when I'm there. And so it's just interesting you talk about the accountability thing because I don't know that I'm not in that realm much because I'm not playing out there that we visit. But it is something I feel a pressure of when we do come out there.
And I do. I really wish, like, I don't want to say I wish. I hope to bring this mission out there. I'm just trying to build the brand right now so that as I do move across the country, like, and try to tour in a sense, people, it's enough of an event that people will come out, and that way I can just pop into Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee and back to Arkansas and Montana and everywhere to then focus on the rural areas, you know. And that's a future thing. But yeah, I do. I was very privileged that my mom taught me to two step when I was six, because not a lot of people did, you know. And I would say our grandparents did. But the issue I see a lot of the times is that during our grandparents' time and after, the American dream really took over, and it was about the grind. And it was like if you have time to dance, you're not working enough, you
Sure,
know. And that made artists suffer as well. And then that just built kind of into the consumerism side, and so there was less enjoyment of the dance, and so our parents never really got that, and our grandparents, a lot of grandparents even suffered from it, you know, but we definitely did. And so I would say like 2 to 3 generations skip dancing, and we're seeing the effects, and I hope to change that, but uh, you never know. And that's what I think too, you would really, bands like you would love to see if you haven't already, but like playing a happy waltz, or like a play on the thing, like a sad polka. You know, polkas are never sad, but it's like to be able to be so creative that you know they're going to dance this way, but then sing this way. And it's the
sure,
same thing too. Like you're saying, there's people right now, and a lot of people think this is old, but we have new artists, and also like kind of alternative country artists that you would think are very poppy, but they're mixing polkas and waltzes 3/4 times with a 4/4, and it's like, wow, like the creativity you have. And the reason they probably did it was because again the verses were very like storytelling and happy, and they're going, and then they drop into the chorus and it's a waltz because they're talking about heartbreak. And the specific one I'm talking about, it's like, don't ruin this record for me, though you're
yeah,
polkaing, and
yeah,
the polka is like talking about, you know, this great relationship with this guy and blah blah blah, and all the memories they're making in the truck and da da da, and then it drops into the chorus and it's like, please don't ruin this record for me. Like, you know, and so
yeah,
it is fun, like you said, that, and I wish more of us would see it, that you can switch stuff up and watch how people react. That's how you can tell the true dancers that are listening to you is how do your feet move. And that's
sure.
why as a dance instructor, we try to teach it is it's not about the movements. It's not about your flips and tricks. It's about responding to the song with your feet.
Right.
And I think that's so cool that you already see that. But you've clearly traveled well, and I'm curious, what's the furthest you traveled?
To play has been Texas. So, and that's kind of just, so it started was actually with South by Southwest, which we've never been
Yes.
official artists for, but when you get into music, that's like the festival. And I think it's kind of funny when we first, this is our third year. We're also not officially showcasing artists this year, but we're still going out because it's just good to be in that scene. And it's funny, the longer you do it, the more you run into people that are very jaded by it, which I get. I think there is a time and place in your career, if you will, to be a part of that. And then you kind of get jaded in the sense, just like anything else. We're like, yeah, you can't park anywhere. Everywhere is expensive. I get it, but we're still hungry. Like we want those shows. I want that. We're still grinding it out. We're not above that. And I don't think a lot of the guys that are jaded feel like they're above it. They just maybe don't necessarily want to deal with it. Whereas like, yeah, we'll take those shows. Give us those shows.
As in, like your fans are pissed off that you're playing too big of shows, or
No, as in like other artists that have
oh, think you don't
maybe
deserve
been
it.
doing this for 10 years or whatever. They're like, no, why in the hell would I go there and not be able to park and have to be in and out in 20 or 30 minutes or whatever else. It's just where we're like, no, do we get a chance to like go and play? Hell yeah, we want it. We'll take it. And luckily, since we've been coming, but Texas has been it. Now we do North Carolina and we do Tennessee and Alabama and Florida and Georgia. So we kind of stay right in this realm. I mean, my schedule, having pie shops, I'm really just a handyman there. I kind of work on refrigerators and there's always something tore up.
Always.
But the other guys, we have day jobs. I mean, theirs are pretty flexible, but we usually just do little weekend runs and then we'll do like a week to Texas. And um, because people come out and dance and support live music, Texas pays better. So it makes it worthwhile for me to come out there and drive 13 hours and get 5 shows in where I'm not just losing my ass on gas and hotels and everything else. Um, so that's the other backside of it.
That's good. I like that a lot. What's like the most funky or outlandish place you've played at? You don't
Ooh,
have to name names if it's negative, but honestly, too, I'd love for you to name names if it's like funny or negative because it's great. Gives them PR. No PR is bad PR.
yeah. Now, one of the funnest places to play is called the Thirsty Beaver in North Carolina. It's in Charlotte. If you ever go there, you
Damn.
should.
Okay.
It's small. It's just a bar, but all these artists that you would know of come through there because it's always a Sunday show. It's like it's like 5:30 to 9 o'clock. It's a tips gig, but everybody shows up for Sundays, and it's just small. I mean, we play as a three-piece, and it's packed in there, and then people just come out for music. But what's cool about it is it kind of looks like how Broken Spoke does there in Austin, where an apartment's built up around it. So this was like a same type concept. So this is like way smaller, probably an eighth the size of Broken Spoke.
Hmm.
But the building they refused to sell out to the apartment, so they literally built an apartment around this little building. So now there's apartments all the way around and behind the building, and up. And now there's like 8, 10 floors of apartments all the way around this small building right there in Charlotte. So it's probably one of my favorite places to play. Shout out to the Wilson brothers. They always take care of us while we're there. But yeah, we've played American Legions. We've played restaurants. I mean, we're still doing it. I mean, we're in that phase of like kind of picky with gigs, like making sure myself and the guys get paid, but also kind of just grinding it out too.
I love that. I love that, and I love when venue owners, anyone in our industry, like keeps their foot down. I hate when it's all about profit, and yes, I know businesses need profit, but I love when they realize that as long as they have land and the people support them, like they hold the ground, and that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Well, and
Um,
a little switch snippet on that. I know we're kind of wrapping up here, but two, I think, especially out my way, is everybody wants live music and they want the live music scene, but they're not really willing to put down the effort that's required in terms of like, hey, you're gonna lose money when you start. because you need to do it consistently. People need to know that it doesn't matter if it's the third Friday of the month. Like you need to have live music consistently. That way, people know that it's there. We've kind of run into that a few times where we do like a residency that we tried to keep up. We were doing this Monday night thing that we wanted to keep up. We do it every Monday night, but it was expected like, that people show up and be there, and it doesn't really work like that. You have to kind of get things started and build that. And there are a few places out here that are trying, they'll do like dance lessons before, a honky tonk type show to get people in and try and teach that, but it's not nearly as, prevalent as it is out your way.
Yeah, that's the hard part too about dance lessons. A lot of folks think like, oh, as soon as we start dance lessons, people are going to show up. And it's like, no, they need consistency. Like,
Yeah.
they need to also miss a Sunday or two. They need to be able to show up later because they might not just be feeling it that week. And so consistency is so key. But yeah, yeah, we're wrapping up, and I kind of just wanted to give you some exhortation and give people a little bit more insight because I really see you as like kind of a poster child of like that southern country sound. And to be honest, I even say you kind of sound. I would say you sound honky tonk, like traditional honky tonk, not honky tonk dance and music, but like what the honky tonk was.
Sure.
You sound like it, like Austin, where it's that like true, pure honky tonk sound, which allowed for rock, which allowed for blues, which allowed for a lot of funky music. And you do so well to have a good image. And maybe some listeners are thinking that's an insult, but I'm quite literally saying that, these full blown pop stars are trying to fight that they're country artists, right? And they're trying to prove themselves, and they have full PR teams, and they still can't prove it. And yet, then there's also country artists that are country as country gets, and they don't know how to present that people well. You, however, do it so naturally. And I don't know if that's just because it is natural, as in like the work you put in is just like, yeah, I'm just presenting this and I just happen to have such a good eye. Or does someone work with you? Because from your fonts to your designs, I mean, the content you make, it seems so well put together that you clearly put thought into it. But I'm curious about the skill. Like, do you have a team that you work with, or is it literally just how skilled you are at that?
Um, I don't know that I would literally say how skilled I am at it, but I will say I put a lot of effort into it. No, there's no team. It's just me. No
Wow.
label, no management, no booking agency. It's just me. Um, it's, we are in a day and age where it can be leaned too heavy on that, where like if you, the peop that you're putting out that visual to go viral or whatever else. And I don't look at it that way. I look at it as part of the job, and it kind of sucks to say that. Like, but I do. I look at it as part of the job. It's just as important right now because when I'm reaching out to venues, they're looking at my Instagram or they're looking at my Spotify streams. That's what they know. Especially like if I'm reaching out to a venue in Texas, they don't know me at all. Um, but no, I don't have like a calendar where I put everything in. It's like, oh, I'm going to post this on this day, and I think that's part of the deal is because it is natural. It's like, oh, this was a good thing at this time. I'm going to do it like this. Now, when we're releasing a song, that's a little more like, oh, I should probably promote this song.
Yeah.
I will say I got Jason, my drummer, is a photographer. So it's a little more accessible for me to have like decent photographs and video. But we do all the recording. The last two songs, full band wise, we recorded right here in this shed that I'm sitting in. And we're doing these acoustic songs, and I'm working on two more right now. So I'm doing a lot of the stuff in house. Now, granted, it's not as excellent it was if it would be if I bought a bunch of studio time and paid somebody to master it. But it's also it gives me complete freedom to do it how I want to do it, and I'm learning how stuff works, which also interests me. When I was recording in the beginning, it was like I don't know, I'll sing the song and y'all just figure the rest of the shit out. Whereas now I'm figuring the rest of the shit out. Um, but no, I treat it like that, and I appreciate it. I don't take it as a slight at all. It's because I treat it like it's part of the job in terms of like that kind of stuff, like graphics for shows and posters. That started though because when we opened Pie Bar, we couldn't pay somebody every time we needed a graphic done, so I started learning Illustrator, and then as got a little farther down the line, I started learning Photoshop and Lightroom. And it's all just come out of necessity, really. I mean, I'm interested in it too. I think it's kind of like music. Like, I think it's just an artistic thing that interests me. So I like for graphics to look good. And I think I have the ability to make them look good. So I just need to, try to put the effort in for that.
I love that. That's really impressive though. Truly, like it looks like a coffee shop. Like when I coming from Onyx, it looks like how well a coffee shop that has a certain theme looks. Like everything is streamlined. Again, great shout out to your drummer because those photos are incredible
Yeah,
too.
he's a man.
But like it just everything feels, and I might be biased because I love Spanish moss, but it feels like Spanish moss. Like it
True.
feels like every time I look at any content you have, or when I go to your website or anything like that, it genuinely feels like I'm driving. When I'm going to the beach, and I would drive through Mobile, Alabama. Where you just drive down that, like, even to people have seen it, even to like those old plantation houses, that like southern, simple, but also a little hip, like a little cool charm. So that's, I think you really captured your essence of like one foot in the past, one foot in the future, uh, taking care of both sides. It's really impressive. So great job on that. And I think that's a perfect place to give you the spotlight, man. If you want to let these folks know where they can go look at that, what we just talked about,
Yeah.
anything they can see social media wise, any shows you got coming up, we'd love to know that going into this summer, and just anything you'd like to tell, give a shout out to. The spotlight's yours.
Sure. Well, my name's Cody Bolden. I've got a website, codybolden.com. I've got an Instagram, which is also just at Cody Bolden. I've got we're working on a couple songs now that'll probably be out, in the spring or so of this year. We do have a kid. My wife is also 9 months pregnant, so she's due technically again on the 19th. So
Wow.
I know this will come out at some point. So but we are, I think, on the 11th or 12th today. So anyway, all that to say, we're stopping shows for about a month and a half, and I'm starting to get in late February. Coming back out to Texas in March. We're just doing a quick run. Coming down through, we're going to play Fort Worth, maybe twice, but down in New Braunfels, and then over in I think it's called Lano, and then back
Yeah.
up through Fort Worth. But all the stuff's online. I think if you Google it, it probably will populate it. But that's all I got.
Dude, it's been a pleasure. I'm truly honored that you would take your time to give some of that to us. Also, congratulations. I pray for some energy for you because I know this next month isn't going to be easy, but you've done it
Yeah,
before. You know what you're
yeah,
doing.
that's
And
right.
so
That's right.
I really look forward to also the inspiration that this part of your life is going to give you. So, again, it's truly a blessing to know you, man. And I can't wait to see you out here in March.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.